Hello, I am Madeline James, and in this, I guess, vlog sort of video, we are going to enter the query trenches. And I'm terrified. No, I'm not terrified. I don't know what I am, but I'm conflicted and confused and excited and worried and a little bit anxious, but we'll see. So this is one of the videos in my query journey playlist, so if you want to go back and watch the other stuff, I'll link it below. But my plan today is to go through the agents that I've kind of decided to be in my batch, my first batch, and kind of go through the whole process of, okay, these are the agents, let's make sure they're still open to queries. Let's go and double check all of their submission guidelines and all their feedback and like just double check that I really do want to query them. And then kind of go through the process of this is how I query each of them, this is the materials they all are asking for, and just go through the process one by one and start putting it together, submit the actual queries, and kind of walk you through that process so you can see what all is entailed in one of these like query batches for me, and also like, you know, moral support here a little bit of going through this process for the first time. And I don't know, I'm sure we'll have some thoughts to share as we go, but that's sort of my plan. So I am not going to directly share what I'm looking at on the screen because I don't know, I don't want to share information from sites that kind of have like information that's like behind a paywall. Like if you have a pro query tracker submission or account or a publisher's marketplace account, like I don't want to directly share that. And it seems weird to directly share the names of the agents I'm querying while I'm querying. Like it seems weird. So I'm going to share like not their names, but then all the like other information that I'm putting together as we go, and I'll make like some sort of graphics. I don't know exactly what I'll do yet, but I'll do something so you can sort of see what I'm doing. And yeah, okay, so let me pull all of the like pages up that I need, and then we're gonna get started. Okay, so I have so far 4 tabs up. I have my sort of like querying material Google Drive folder with like my query, my synopsis, all that stuff. I have the Google spreadsheet with all of my agent query round information and my agent materials. And then I have Query Tracker up, and I have Publisher's Marketplace up. And let me log in there. Okay. So what I want to start with is I have my just general agent list, and I want to start a new page that is like actually tracking the queries I've already submitted. Like I'm going to have them on Query Tracker, but I want to know, you know, okay, at what point am I considering this a rejection, or at what point am I expecting a response from here? So I'm going to kind of go through and fill that out just so I can sort of keep track of who I actually queried and when. And while I go through that process, I'll sort of, look at, I guess maybe where I'm expecting feedback, like whether or not it'll be in Query Tracker. I'm not sure. I haven't done this yet. So I'm going to just start throwing the information I see in another spreadsheet as I go through each agent. And I think right now, let me, can I like sort A to Z? Yeah. Okay, so I currently have 4 agents in my query batch 1, but I have some in query batch 2 that I might move to query batch 1 too, because there's a lot in 2 and less in 1. But yes, so I'm going to go through here. And if you see my video on like making my agent list, I kind of talked about what information I'm gathering. So I have like how long it takes them to respond, how good of a fit they are for my specific book, how, you know, what their request rate is, what their sub-guides are, their agency policy, all that stuff. So I'm just going to go through each one. And so I have links here of their agency. I have a link to their submission guide for that specific agent or that agency if it's just a general submission for the agency, and all of that. So I'm going to go through and just like make sure they're still open to queries, move them into my I'm actually querying you in batch 1, and once we have all that, I'll go through and actually start figuring out what I need to submit to each of them. So let me start putting that together. So I have set up my, I guess, actual like queried, which I should probably rename the tab of this sheet to like queried agents. And so I've hidden a lot of the columns, but I'm basically copying, pasting from that initial sheet so that I'm not redoing a lot of work. But I have agent name, agency, that sublink, the amount of time to respond, and then the new columns I have are the date I queried, whether or not I'm actually expecting a response, because most agencies will typically say, we try to respond to all queries, or if you don't hear a response in this long, consider it a rejection. And then some don't specify, but you can tell based off their stats and query tracker whether or not they respond. So I put whether or not I'm expecting a response, whether or not they specifically say to follow up if you haven't gotten a response in a certain amount of time, at what point to consider it a rejection if, you know, that's the case, and then what the date would be when I guess I might consider it a rejection, and then where to query, what materials are required, and then like any notes from the submission guide that are like, send the email to this, you know, this email address with this in the subject line kind of thing. So I've gathered all of that for everyone. So I have 7 agents in this first batch now. And I did increase it slightly just because I had so few in the like really quick time frame that I decided to add a few that were from agencies that are like one at a time, just so that I could get started and they have like really quick response rates or really high response rates, you know, like they actually will respond. So I have a higher chance of getting feedback that I can use to update my submission material if needed. So of these 7 agents, 2 of them typically respond within a week, 2 typically respond within 2 weeks, 1 within 5 weeks, and 2 within 6 weeks. So within the next month and a half, I should have gotten responses from all of them. And I expect my batches aren't going to be like completely like, you know, tumbling, you know, where you have a batch here and you don't start anymore until every single one of them have responded. You know, like once the 2 in 1 week ones have responded, I might send out a few more kind of thing, just so that I don't get overwhelmed at one time. So then all but one of them I am expecting an actual response from. And the one that I'm not expecting a response from is you're supposed to consider it a rejection if they don't respond in 2 weeks. So still a quick turnaround time. So then in terms of querying method, 3 of them are through Query Manager and 4 of them are emailed queries. And based off the materials requested, let's see. All the query options, I guess, in Query Manager are always like have the most information just because they have tons of boxes for everything. So there'll be like questionnaires of what's your ideal audience and what's this, what's that, and all of that. So I didn't go through all the extra questions there, but I will once I go to actually fill it out. But they all require a query letter, obviously. And then so far, 2 of them don't require any pages. It's just an emailed query letter. And that's 2 of the quickest ones, which I guess at that point they look at it and like they're not going to look at any materials unless they are really interested, which is why they probably have such a quick turnaround. Maybe, that's me speculating. But then 1 of them requires 5 pages and a synopsis. And then 3 of them require 10 pages. And then I don't think I actually looked at what the last one requires, but it's in Query Manager, so it's probably query letter 10 pages. But I don't think I have any crazy stuff in the note. I don't even know, like, am I ready to do this? Am I ready to actually query now? Is that what's happening? I've gone through all of the closed agents that have really quick response times too, just to see if any of them opened up. There is one that I expect to open up probably tomorrow or Monday maybe. So I might query them after, like, if I get a few responses, but I think I'm ready to query. I don't know if I want to do the email ones first or the Query Manager ones first. I feel like the email ones will be easiest because it's just like send an email. But actually that reminds me, I should probably, one of the big things, right, that people say about querying is that you should use a different email address. So that's set up now in my Gmail for this, which is not my normal Gmail. I've seen a lot of recommendations not to use your normal Gmail. So I can move that over here. And then over here, okay, I feel like the easiest way to do this would be if I set up all the emails and save them in drafts, and we go through all of them, and then I just send them all real quick at one time. I feel like that's going to be the mood. So I'm going to go here and start prepping this. The email ones are all, like, I'll start with the simple ones where it's just put this in the subject and then put your query letter in the body of the email. Those ones are the easiest. So I'm going to prep those first. Okay, I'm setting this first one up, and I'm so nervous. This one doesn't have, like, a ton of stuff that it wants you to put in the query letter. Like, it doesn't say anything to put in the subject. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I can do this. Okay, so I've prepped 3 so far, 9 to the ones that want pages in the query letters, or in the, I guess, query email. So I'm pulling up Scrivener, and I'm trying to decide how I want to do this. I feel like I can probably just, oh, there's a new update. We'll do that later. I feel like I want to compile maybe just like the first act, which I have mine separated into 4 acts, and then put it in a Google Doc, and then I can make a couple different ones that are only just like certain pages. Compiling. Okay. So I think that's good. Okay, this is the one I'm working on, and they want the first 10 pages. So I have the query letter in here already. So first 10 pages. Okay, copy, paste. How does this look? Okay, so that one's ready. So that's 3 that are ready. Well, I think there's one other one that, yes. Okay, one more. But where do I send it to? Okay, I didn't grab the email address to send this one to, so let me open that up. Okay, it's based off the individual agent, so I need to go to their page. Never mind, they want query manager now, not email. Okay, so I guess only some of the agents of that agency use email, but that means I don't know what they actually want. I'll check that when I get to query manager, but I have 3 draft query letters that I just need to click send on. Okay, we're gonna do it. Okay, let me just like double triple check. Okay, this is the right email address. That's the correct way to spell their name. Email queries preferred, query letter, and my contact information. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, this looks right. It feels so weird to just click the button because it's just so easy to click the button, and I've been working on this for, how old am I? Like 5 or 6 years, 7 years? This book, like, I haven't seriously been working on it until like the last few years, but it's so easy to just click send. Like, I could just click it and then it's done, and I did it, and I sent out my first query. I don't know why that makes it harder. Like, that makes it harder. It's just a click of a button. And like, I've seen on a lot of persons, like the comments and the responses for this one, that it can be like a day, 2 days, 2 days. Luckily, I'm doing it on a Friday of a holiday weekend, so the odds of them responding right away is a little bit lower, which gives me a little bit of breathing room. I don't have to worry about people responding this weekend, most likely, but okay. I'm gonna do it. Are you ready? Oh, I did it! I sent a query. Ugh, I might throw up. Okay, anyway. Yep, we did it. So I'm gonna put the date. Okay, date is in there. Okay, so that's done. So the next one, I'm just gonna go through. I spelt their name right. Yes, indeed. Yes. Blah, blah, blah. They say only a query letter. Body of the email is the query letter. Send. Okay. And the last one, that's email. Okay. Definitely spelt that right. Put all that stuff in here. First 10 pages and the body of the email. Send. Oh, this is getting harder. This isn't getting easier. This is getting harder. Each one is harder. Okay, they're done. So I'm gonna go real quick before I forget. Let me move this over here into Query Tracker if I can find that tab out of what I now have like literally 17 tabs open. I really need to close them. Let's close those, close. Okay, all right, so let me go find those in my Query Tracker list. So this person, and mark them as queried. Email today. Okay. Okay. The email ones were the easier ones, which is why I wanted to do them first. But let's go through each of the non-email ones. Yeah, so this person is query manager. Okay, so this is like a lot of information in these, but this looks pretty standard. So it wants your name, your email, your bio section, website address, Twitter handle, if the query is a referral, who referred you, and then you start telling them about your book. Title, genre, word count, a couple questions, query letter, synopsis, first one chapter of your book as a file, so as a docs file, so I'll need to prepare that, and then a 1-sentence pitch, and then optional you can sign into Query Tracker through it. Okay, we'll do this. Okay, I ended up crossing that first one off my list entirely because I got to the Query Manager form, and there's a drop down in genre, and my book didn't technically fit it. Okay, I'm gonna start checking that first before I start filling the rest of the stuff out for anyone. But yeah, they do accept adult fantasy, but only magical realism, which isn't my book. So I crossed them off the list, so we're down to 6 agents for batch 1. Okay, so this one has a lot of sections, and I've started in my agent query round spreadsheet. I just added another tab for materials for like the little boxes that are specific questions that I expect to see a lot. So I have like phone number, website, Twitter handle, my bio, and since it's separate from my query, I added slightly more to it just since I'm not restricted by the like query letter word count guide. And then there's a target audience suggestion and then similar books, which I just copied, the books that are like mine and then added a couple more. That's about it. So I still need to write the target audience for my book, which it's a little difficult, but yeah, I know what it is. It's just like putting it into words on the spot. I don't know. I'm going to write that. I'm going to put that together, and then I need to sign into Query Tracker, and then this one's done. And then I have 2 more Query Manager ones to do. So let me see how this works. Okay, I'm working on this target audience thing, and it's actually kind of hard because I feel like my book has I don't want to say general appeal, but it isn't super hard in any direction. It isn't super hard epic fantasy. It isn't super hard romantasy. You definitely couldn't call it romantasy. I don't know. I have right now something more specific, which is essentially the cross-section of adult fantasy readers, the majority being women, that are fans of both the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas and Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Also, readers who enjoy romantic subplots. That's what I have right now. I feel like it's really specific, and I feel like it's okay to list a bestseller or really big books in here because it just gives you an idea of the fans. I'm not saying my book is like those or my book is as good as those, but the type of people that would like both of them, more fast-paced, strong angst, lots of romance, and then Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, which I definitely wouldn't call it sexy, but he's got a lot of world building. They're both more straightforward, right? It's I feel like if you liked both of those, that's the type of people that I would be marketing my book towards. Not saying that my book is at that level or is necessarily even I wouldn't even you know what I mean? You know what I mean. I think you know what I mean. But I don't know if they want it to be that specific. It does say 500 characters or less. This is definitely way under 500 characters, so maybe I just go with it. Not that many ask for this, so I'm assuming it's a slightly less important one, but I'm going to go with that. I'm also trying to get this all done now because my daughter has a fever and needs to be picked up from school, so my husband's going to do that, or picked up from daycare. So I have a deadline, and because when he gets back with them, he has to go to the grocery store. Okay, so I submitted my first query on Query Manager, and they give you a portal where you can go to see the status of it. So I added that link into my queried agents page for that agent. Yes. So that's done. So then I just need to go through and do the other 2 real quick. I don't know why, but the Query Tracker ones are a little bit less scary. It's a little bit less one button and you're done. But yeah, so I have 2 more to do. Unless something crazy pops up, I will talk to you when I'm done. Okay, one of the agents I was going to query is now closed to queries. So I took her off my list, which is a little bit sad, but I think I will move this one up and do her because she's from the same agency. Okay, good. She's still open to queries right now, so go to form. Let's start filling this out. What is a pitch? How do I write a pitch? I know what a pitch is, just what is my pitch? What is my pitch? My 1-sentence pitch. So 1 sentence or 1 to 2 sentence? 1-sentence pitch. I feel like it's typically when conflict but, wait. When inciting incident but conflict, or when desire but conflict then something. Oh, what was it? I have this written down somewhere. Okay, I'm done. Let's see. I have officially sent 6 queries, and 3 of them were to Query Manager, 3 were via email, and I ended up having to shift my list slightly. I already talked about this, but you know, I think this is part of why you can't get too prepared until it's actually time to send queries, because you don't know for sure who's going to be open and when, and always, you know, you'll find stuff that crops up. But I have sent out queries. I am officially in the query trenches. What? Like, that's crazy. Like, thinking about that kind of makes me feel like I'm going to start sweating. But I've already gotten some emails, and I'll have to decide if I want to turn off notifications for this email account. I don't feel like I'm super anxious about it, so I'm not too worried, but it basically says query received, query received, query received, which is good, because then it means this is like, you know, I didn't put the wrong email address in. But yes. So I think that whole process took me like 2 hours, I think, to send my first 6 queries, which is not that bad. And I did end up adding a few more materials to like my query materials page. So I only had to give my synopsis to 1 agent. The rest all had the query letter. A few had pages, probably about half, maybe slightly more than half had pages. But I also just added my email, phone number, website, vlog, Twitter handle, bio, title, genre, word count, pitch, target audience, and similar books as common sections in Query Manager, so I can just copy and paste it over. And so far, I think that went really well. The last query was like super duper fast, so I'm pretty excited about that. I am going to need to learn how to use Query Tracker to sort of see like status of my queries, I guess, but I can see, let's see, I see 4 that I queried here. Okay. So I think you're supposed to be able to see for the ones that you've queried. So if I click this one, which I queried, I feel like you're supposed to be able to see like a chart of where in the list you are, which I might be crazy. Let me see if I can hunt it down. Okay, so I haven't found the page I'm looking for yet, but I found that there are premium reports that I've never actually looked at, and one of them is reply history, and you can see the number of negative replies and positive replies. It's kind of crazy. Like the one I'm looking at right now, before I guess maybe like the last maybe almost a year, they got like the highest months were like a little over 100 queries a month. Mostly it was like, oh, maybe like 10, maybe 50, or I guess this is when they responded. But the last, you know, so many months, it's crazy high. Like the number they responded to in December is really low. January's huge, and since then it's been a really, really big number, like 3 to 6 or 7 times higher than normal, which is absolutely bonkers. I don't know if that's just because like maybe they switched agencies to somewhere where they're actually responding to everything, or if this considers everything, but there's some pretty cool reports in here. Okay, so I think Data Explorer is where you can see all the query and submission data for the agents. Okay, so here we go. 11 pages. Okay, so I can see all the other queries that have been made. So there was 4 queries to this agent today. 2 fantasy, 1 sci-fi, and then mine. Theirs were all shorter than mine, the fantasy and the sci-fi. The sci-fi is pretty short. So this person is getting like, I don't know, like a wee 6 or 7 like a day, which is kind of crazy. So I think I can go through the other agents that I've queried. So I queried that one today. Okay, this person only has like a small number in here. And someone actually queried after me, which is kind of funny, but this is kind of crazy. There's been a lot of stuff that agent's getting that's kind of all over the place. That's okay. So then I can go to this person, go to data. Oh, query timeline. I think that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Okay, this person has way less too. Okay, so let's see. Query timeline. Oh, that's so crazy. Okay, I can see mine. I can see the one before mine. Is this like, yeah, that's mine. And then you just see like lots of frowny faces. No response to one of these. Lots of frowny faces. Oop. What is that? Looks like they had a request on a thriller. And then a request on a historical mystery. Scrolling up further. Oh, fantasy request. Okay, this is cool. This is what I was looking for. I don't think this is overly interesting right now because I'm not like waiting on responses. Like I feel like if I were to go to one of these that's further out. So eventually I should be able to look at this and start to see maybe when they're getting to mine if I wanted to check that. I don't think I'll need to do that for these just because like there's not as many of them, I guess. You know, like... No, because they're going to be answering quicker. So, okay, so this other person that I queried by email, there's not as many responses, so I see a full that's responded to, a rejection, a full rejection. But I imagine a lot of these, since this is by email, that not as many people are updating it as quickly. So if it's in Query Manager, you could probably really track that closely, but the other ones is kind of just like maybe you can get a slight idea. I feel like, again, it'll be more fun for the queries that take like 6 to 8 weeks or 12 weeks, or I think, what is the longest one I have on my list? Let me pull that up because that's a fun statistic. Yeah. It's like 4 months is probably the longest, which then is pretty long. They're also close to queries right now, so like meh. But, sort A to Z. There you go. I did it. I said queries. I'm officially in the query trenches. I am in the query trenches. I am querying my book right now. It's freaking me out a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna get rejections, right? And hopefully useful feedback. That's what we're hoping for. But I need to decide how I'm gonna celebrate my first rejection because I feel like I need to celebrate it. I'm not sure. I've been doing longsword, historical longsword fighting. And so I need to start getting gear for that. So maybe I'll like order myself gloves as my first like thing, you know? They take forever to arrive, so it's not super instant gratification, but I don't know. I might do that. I don't know. I feel like I've talked a ton about what my expectations with this querying process are. I think a lot of it is in the playlist here, but I don't think my book is super marketable for a debut author. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying like I don't think it's good enough quality. I just think it's something that's a lot less likely for agents to want to take a chance on for a debut. So I think it probably wasn't the best first book to query, but it's the first book I did. It's the first book that's available, and I didn't know that when I was starting to write it. So we're querying, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And if we have to shelve this project at the end of this, we will shelve the project. We will keep writing. We will keep writing books. We will keep getting better. And eventually, hopefully, I will be able to get an agent with my books. My next one that I'm working on right now, I'm drafting it, is definitely a lot more debut friendly, I guess you could say. Like, it's just very marketable. It's a little bit more high concept. It's going to be a little shorter, more character focused. It's not epic fantasy, it's just like regular fantasy, I would say. It has a little bit of a stronger romance subplot, only one POV, so yes, I am excited for all of that. I feel a lot better now. I don't feel even really that much different. I don't feel like, I don't know. You get anxious about it and it feels like a big deal when you click the button, but then like 20 minutes later you're like, oh, I sent some emails. Cool. I don't know. Maybe I'll feel different about it later, but I just kind of like, now that I've gone through and done a few, it's just kind of fine. It's not very stressful anymore. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll keep giving updates. And in the meantime, I guess I am now officially back to working on my drafting, which is exciting. I just filmed my outro and turned off my camera, and then looked at my phone and I had my first rejection. So, yes, I have my first rejection. So I can, I guess, put that in here. I guess it probably is a good idea to say why I got a rejection. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to see your pages. Unfortunately, this project is beyond the word count I'd want to work with. Beyond word count. Which isn't something I'm overly surprised by. Like, for a generic fantasy, this is a little bit long. For epic fantasy, it's not. But that's okay. Okay, it's a generic nice thing. Word count too long. I'm fine with that. I really I think I got it down to, I don't know. I think this is about the shortest I could get it down to. But I don't know. So yes, that's my first rejection. It doesn't really hurt. I don't think. It's unsurprising. It's fine. I guess I probably need to add a column here for response. Or I can just turn the whole column red maybe. Or just change their name to be red. And then everyone else that I queried can be blue. For maybe. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I officially have my first rejection. I need to put it in, I guess, Query Tracker because it's one of the, is it one of the email ones? It's from Query Manager. Okay. So I'm officially a rejected author. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's really fine. It only took 2 hours. But anyway, yes, so I will see you all later. Let me know if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, whatever. Okay, bye.